Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at strategy. It is time for another update, and on this chart we have been tracking a couple of interpretations that would allow us to look for continuation to higher prices. I do see a scenario that is in between those, but honestly the area of support would completely overlap with what we are tracking anyway, and we won't go through all those possibilities for continuation to higher prices. We have a level of support that is in confluence within these other interpretations, and we have been focusing on these two structures in white and yellow. Ideally, we would be building the white interpretation where we are tracking a larger leading diagonal in a 1, 2, third, fourth, and a fifth. In this pattern, if we succeed creating it, we would be looking for a larger 1, 2 setup potentially that would allow a very interesting opportunity. At the same time, we are tracking in yellow the idea of a larger A, B, C structure that could mark a more significant completion of the uptrend where we don't really need to extend to any higher prices. Now, the thing is, while these areas of support overlap for the most part, it could potentially be difficult to find a difference between these two structures. At the moment, I believe we need to consider both, and we need to track both areas of support that, once again, overlap. Now, in the case of the yellow structure, we are watching the levels between the $207 all the way down to the $43.6. In the case of the white structure, we are watching the levels between the $160 all the way down to the $22. Unless we break the 61.8% retracement in white, I wouldn't focus on a more bearish pattern. So I'm using the $22 as the level I'm looking for higher prices against. Now, before we move into the internal structure, I wanted to quickly highlight the channel newsletter. If you want to subscribe, the link for it is in the description. It is completely free. And additionally, if you want to support the content, you can check out the channel membership. The link is in the description, or you can click the join button down below this video. Now, in this smaller time frame, I know this is probably what most of you are interested in. We have been tracking an A, B, C pattern in this correction, whether it is a wave 4 in yellow or a wave 4 in white. Now, in this pattern, we have already built the largest portion I would consider, and we have here the wave A and B complete, and we are tracking the wave C to the downside within the idea of an impulse. Already a couple of videos ago, we had this internal wave 3 complete. Yeah, we had a large wave 3 that we were tracking, but the internal wave 3 was expected to be complete, and we were looking for a couple of areas of resistance. So in orange, we were tracking the potential bottom of the wave 3 being here, and the wave 4 correction that would be expected to unfold into the levels between the $180 all the way up to the $215. This area has been reached. I can very easily track this as a fifth wave down, and additionally, we were tracking a possible extension of this fifth wave part of this large wave 3. In this case, we had a potential 1, 2 set up to track in this area. We also got held back by this area of resistance. But since the latest developments, where we were tracking this as a potential impulse within the wave 3, we have managed to break out of the resistance levels we would need to track for a follow-up wave 4 correction. We have broken above the 50% retracement of an internal impulse in this area, and I cannot look for a correction in a wave 4 even that would allow me to track continuation to even lower prices within this wave 3. And this wave 3 needed to be an impulse. We have a 5-wave structure we are tracking in this initial wave 1 to the downside in blue. So this blue interpretation actually is no longer valid. We can no longer track this idea of an extension of this wave 3 within this area, at least not in a reliable manner, and I would rather focus on other structures, specifically on a fifth wave in orange that would build within this movement. Now, in the previous video, we were tracking a potential impulse internally to form within this area in a 1, 2, third, fourth, and a fifth. While it is a bit uncommon, I cannot deny this being successful, even if it would be a fifth wave we extended to much lower prices within. We did get held back by the area of resistance we were tracking for a wave 4 correction, and even if I wanted to, this cannot be tracked as a 1, 2, third, fourth, and a fifth either, because once again we have broken above the relevant resistance levels for such an interpretation. So the only pattern that really makes sense for an extension in the fifth wave in this area is within an ending diagonal instead. So in such a scenario, I would be watching a count where we have a wave 1 down, a wave 2 up here, a third wave down, fourth wave up, and then a fifth wave to the downside. I would expect still another low within this interpretation, and actually let's track it within a different pattern, because I will also be considering a possible bottom in this fifth wave here. But in this new assumption of the blue scenario, we are potentially looking for the resistance levels up to the 61.8% retracement. So we are talking about the levels between the $116.8 all the way up to the $140.5 level. I would like to see another low within this area to have a more clearly defined full count, but I cannot rule out a more direct breakout and the possibility of a more substantial bottom to be in place within this wave to the downside as well. We have a similar structure on the Bitcoin chart where we had quite a substantial extension in the latest movement to the downside, whereas on that chart the pattern is more clearly defined and we have that as a fifth wave. Right now, I would consider this to be either an ending diagonal or to have a bottom in an already complete structure in this fifth wave in orange. I wouldn't necessarily overthink the exact count, and we might see a more substantial retracement. However, even in the scenario where we break the resistance area in blue, while we aren't looking for continuation to even lower prices in this fifth wave in orange, I would still expect the larger wave C to take us to lower prices still, because the larger area of resistance for a wave 4 would have not been broken yet. And we can now adjust this, and it extends from the $140 level all the way up to the $195.3. For a more substantial bottom to be in place within either the white scenario or the yellow interpretation, I would need to see a break above the 50% retracement. Some structures could help us in identifying a more likely breakout, but I would still need to see the break for a clear confirmation that a more substantial bottom would be in place. And I want to remind you, this is not the only count possible. I'm not ruling out the possibility to already have a bottom in place. We have even reacted very nicely with these previous structural supports we had, but this is the evidence I need for reliability. This is what I need to see to have confidence in the idea of a more substantial bottom being in place. But for now, there really isn't much else to add. Even here in the smaller time frame, the structure seems highly unreliable, and I would consider this the time to be patient and wait for a more clear pattern and wait for at least some sort of evidence before looking for additional positions. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. And by the way, if you enjoy the content and you find it useful, don't forget to check out the channel membership. Additionally, you can subscribe to our newsletter for monthly top picks, which is completely free, and you can find the link for both in the video description. But for now, I wish you a wonderful day, and bye bye.